5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? It's Yanni Blue, and I'd like to welcome you to Bigger Than Our Dreams podcast. I'm here with my co-host,
Amir.
And today we have a super special guest,
Malik.
Yes, and it's a super special episode.
It's super special.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
You just appeared.
I was just walking down the street and I saw you guys and I was like, oh, podcast.
Hi.
You just,
Perfect.
You just walked in.
Magic.
Yeah, I just walked in. I don't ask for permission. I just stroll in.
As the fuck you should.
And now here we are.
Like an anomaly. Like a natural disaster.
Yes, like fucking Hurricane Milton.
Oh, it's too early for that.
Too soon.
It's too soon for that.
Too soon. Wow. I apologize.
It's too soon for that.
So.
Oh wow, this is starting off really.
Look, we're here. We're
gonna do a bang up job.
We got this. We are reporting live from the Lower East Side. We are at P&T Knitwear Studios, right across from Claw Daddy. I'm gonna mention everybody's names because I want discounts. I want promotional codes.
Hey, shout out to P&T Knitwear.
Shout out to P&T Knitwear. This is a really cool setup. I'm really excited to be here today. So. It's a lot going on. It's chaotic as fuck. But in short, Amir and I have completed a second album.
Another album.
Woo!
Look at that.
Thank you.
Make that art, girls.
Look at that. Look
make that
look
fucking
at
art.
We completed a
Am I
second
allowed to curse?
album.
Is this
Yes.
is this
Say whatever the
is this
fuck
network
you
television?
want.
Is this network?
This is live.
This is cable?
Yes.
Okay.
This is
Wow.
cable, baby.
TVMA?
Watch your mouth.
Child.
We've completed a second album, and there's so much to discuss, so much to answer. But in short, after our first album, Dream Big, dropped, we were reached out by Alibi Music, who asked us to complete a second album for Sync and Licensing that we just wrapped beginning of the summer.
Yeah, it's been wrapped for a minute.
Yeah. And we'll begin rolling out. By the time you hear this, you'll probably have already heard our first single, but the album is called
Bouncy and Pretty. Bouncy and motherfucking Pretty.
My titties are tied down right now.
Same.
I'm going from a photo shoot, so they're like wrapped.
Yes.
My titties are resting under this sweater.
You know, for when they're needed.
For when they're needed, you know.
When they're summoned.
My titties are on recovery and rest today.
Period. Today's extra special for me because I've been writing and creating with Amir for the last 3 years now.
3 years.
But I have been ID-tating with Malik for the last 15. Is that a word?
Yeah, no, it's fine. And I was only 12.
Period. Babies.
When they first, just children.
Babies.
Yeah.
We've been dreaming big for a long time. This is one of my first really creative partners. Like, we were always talking about things we wanted to do, things we wanted to create. I was along for the ride with his web series. AIM.
Go back to AIM.
Away messages.
Y'all go way back.
Way back.
Away messages. I think we first bonded off being gay and studying abroad.
Yeah. Yes, I think I was like in Greece or something.
And I was in China.
Yeah.
Shout out to being gay and studying abroad.
And then when we figured out that we lived like,
around the corner
from each other.
And we were inseparable for almost it was like a good solid 5 years.
Yeah, and then you moved to LA and, out of sight, out of mind.
Wow. But yeah, so today is special for me for those reasons. And you guys have just completed a photo shoot
for my podcast. It's a politics podcast that's coming out very, very soon. And we did a great photo shoot. Thank you, Amir. You are the fucking goat of you guys. Like literally, like I know, like you have other, you have bigger ambitions, but like, what a fucking eye.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate that.
And I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Oh my God, this is so gay. I love it. Yeah, this is a really great, like, I'm so excited about this. I had no preconceived notions coming into this. We're just shooting the shit, but we are here definitely to plug this new project. We're going to be chatting with Malik, and we got a really exciting next couple of weeks set up. So I would love to jump right into it. I didn't prepare this, but let's get an icebreaker out the way, gentlemen. Pick one song and tell me how you're feeling today. Malik, you go first.
No, not me.
You sure?
No. Let our guest go first.
Yes,
okay,
go first.
Well, let me tell you. So the song, okay, 2 songs are speaking to me. Oh, is the song based on my emotions or is it based on what I'm vibing with right now?
Don't complicate it. What was the first song that came to mind?
Because I can't pronounce her name appropriately, it's Tuning by Yseult,
yes.
the French artist. I'm pretty sure I'm not actually pronouncing correctly, but it's Tuning. And I listened to that like 4 or 5 times today to get me into the zone. There's an energy to it.
We love that. You just put me on, and she's gorgeous and brown skin and thick as fuck. And those are all things that I aspire. So
Bouncy and pretty.
Bouncy and pretty.
Look, the theme.
That's actually really exactly yes. Very that.
Amir, what is your theme music for today?
I love the new FK Twig single that came out last night. I've been playing it on repeat. It's called Perfect Stranger. She's taking it. She's taking it.
We love that.
It's
the video's fire.
Pop perfection. Love it.
It's her mainstream moment.
We were talking about this earlier. Was that like honestly, there's some artists that like just need that mainstream moment, even if they've been like 25 years in the business. Like I have no. We were talking about like Flo Milli. We have no edits on Flo Milli. The only thing Flo Milli needs is a mainstream moment.
Hit.
She needs a white boy fucking winding his hips on TikTok moment.
Unfortunately, but yes.
That's what she needs. Like just to go global.
Okay, I like those.
She's a little old couple telling nobody knows you like I do.
Yes.
Like they need something like that. They need that moment. Like that's all Flo needs. Like so, like there's artists out there who are just like right there.
They're setting her up though, because what was it that just passed the VMAs? She was like hosting every commercial, and I was like, oh, they're on it for her. Like she had some kind of like Cheetos or something commercial. So shout out to Flo Milli. Okay, so wait.
Shout out to Cheetos. Let's get a brand deal.
French girl again. What's her name?
Yseult. I think it's Yseult. If y'all know better, correct me.
And then your person was again
FK
Twigs. I got two, and they both kind of on brand for today.
We can do two.
Right. Period. I said whatever comes to mind. No. So the first song that came to mind for me is "New Woman" from Rosalia and Lisa, Lisa and Rosalia.
Hot record.
It's just incredible. It's like my favorite song. It's K-pop. It's Latin. It's pop. It's 2 artists coming together, being themselves, but existing on the same track, which is something that we've been doing now for 3 years.
Yeah.
So that is my favorite song of the moment. But my second one, and you'll probably judge me, but The Weeknd and Madonna have a song called "Popular."
I always like that record.
You like that song?
I like that
song. But you didn't like it at first, though.
I didn't like it in concept, but in application, I love it. Yes, Cardi's on it.
Okay.
It works.
I like it.
It works. Madonna is Madonna.
I like the record.
I know that you see ya.
I think the record's good. I like it.
I like it.
It's good.
And again, I think it's another testament of like artists coming together and making cool shit, which is something we've done. But yeah, those are my 2 favorite songs right now, like "Popular" and "New Woman." So, you guys can't see out the window.
I love that we have people looking in.
We have people looking in on
Don't
us.
it feel like we doing like Good Morning America?
We
and
are.
you can see the people like waving in the window and shit.
That's my dream.
We're eating.
Life.
We're eating.
Shit like this.
Make sure you stare at everyone uncomfortably as they walk past.
I'm not angled appropriately for
Look,
that.
just give a little.
Hey, sir. Sir.
No, not him.
This was the look at us. Oh, we're not supposed to yell at them. Okay.
No. Wow. Okay, so we're here. So today was supposed to be, well, it still is our official first artist on artist, but we have Malik here, which is great. So we definitely want to make sure to
I'm thrilled.
Look, this is so much fun for me right now. You guys don't understand. It's like my 2 imaginary friends came to life and are in the same room. And they're real people.
I feel as though he still thinks we're imaginary people.
Yeah, it's like they're not here. It's like they're not real. I made them up. That's why they're... Bitch, I said I'm happy, not high. Okay. Do you want to ask us the questions?
Do you want me to ask you the questions?
You can go through the first one.
Okay.
We'll give you the first. We'll pass it around. Actually, we'll do that.
Sure.
So these are questions that I compiled. Shout out to Mike Brown of the Art of Letting Go.
Shout out.
He's the reason why we're here at P&T. He found out about this spot and he helped me curate these questions for our second album. So we'll shoot it off to Malik to start. There's some highlighted questions. You can start us at number 1 if you'd like.
Absolutely. So I mean, you touched on this a little bit, but I would love to know a little bit more if you could discuss how you first connected and how this project got off the ground.
Yes. You could start because I've been talking a lot.
Well, we've been on Instagram back in it 2020 or 2021?
I think 2021, yeah.
2021, we met on Instagram.
DMs?
Yeah, I think, well, did you find me first?
So I had your page shortlisted. Shout out to, and I'm probably going to say his name wrong. Was it Swizz?
Swizz, yeah.
Shout out to Swizz and Addie, right?
Yeah, I shot both of them, yeah.
Yeah, so incredible photographers we know, and you shot Swizz and Addie, and I was a fan of their pictures, so I had you shortlisted as a photographer.
Gotcha.
I had you saved as somebody I was going to reach out to when I had some money. I ain't had no money at the time.
It be like that.
I wanted to pay for him. But no, I didn't know Tariq, but I had him shortlisted as Tariq Carroll. And then I ended up playlisting a song from
Irby single Sad Disco was on your playlist.
Yep.
That's how he gets you, right? Like with some innocuous random music, like that nobody else knows. Nobody else knows her except for real music heads.
Well, that was the artist that he worked with.
I produced the record.
Word?
For Irby. Yeah. It's called Sad Disco. It's my shit.
Yeah. Breaking fucking what?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So what I was you're fine. So what I was doing at the time, which artists, I think this is a hack for artists, especially independent artists and artists trying to find your community. Create a playlist. Put out your music and then go find like artists and create a playlist and tag them when you share the playlist. Because what ended up happening for me was I found Irby. I don't remember how I found Irby. Probably on a queer urban artist or black artist playlist, and tagged him in the post. And when he reshared it, he tagged you.
Yep.
As a producer, and then you reached out to me like, "Hey, I'm a producer," and I was like, "Bitch, you a photographer? What you mean?"
Right. I was like, "No, you playlisted something I produced."
And that's how it started. Yep.
And that's how we started, and then from there, I think we were supposed to meet in 2021 because I was out in LA working on something, and then we didn't meet because we were both busy. But
we're working with Jeremiah.
Yes,
which is full circle.
Who produced? Ooh.
We're a mess. Shout out to Tsunami Muse.
Shout out to Tsunami Muse. Shout out to Jeremiah.
Produced by Jeremiah and co-produced by us and Javelle.
Yes.
You were out there working with Jeremiah.
Working with Jeremiah on some music. And then I think I came home. You were getting ready to do remixes for RIP. And then I produced. You sent me like a sound pack of like the vocals, like, yo, do you do remixes? And I was like, I never did one before, but I produced. So fuck it, why not, right? And fucked around and found out and made some hot shit. And then we met in person in 2022 when I was in LA.
Yes.
And at that point, I think I had sent Yanni like a bunch of like a bunch of production. I think there may have been some demo IDs in there. I wasn't really looking at that point to fully lean in and like be the artist outside of just doing the beats. But he heard, oh, look at them, they filming us. Ew, okay. What the fuck they doing?
Live from the Lower East Side.
Live from the Lower East Side.
Just stalking.
Live from the Lower East Side. So I sent him a folder of production and some demos, and he was like, "Yo, I think you might want to be on these songs too, friend. Like, let's do this rap shit." And we did it.
And we have spiraled ever since.
So I mean, like, go just a little bit deeper into. So you're producing what goes from production? What moves you from production to meeting to? Did you ever do the photo shoot?
We never shot.
No, he never shot me. No, he's actually never shot me.
Never shot him.
Yeah, no.
I've been in the photos with him.
Yeah, okay.
I've creative directed the photos we've been in, but I've never shot him. No.
Yeah.
So you guys went from there, and then what? And so I know then the next project that came from this was Dream Big.
Right.
Just
that
touch
was the
on
first
that a little
project.
bit.
Yeah.
Honestly, we just, and you can attest to this too. I think there's something that happens, especially for queer people, but I can say for queer boys because we're queer boys. When you find people who like really align with the things you like, things that you know, your references and your shit, you kind of just take off. And we had this experience when we were teenagers. Like, it was like, bitch, you know all of these shows and all these songs, all these obscure references.
Yeah, like these weird fucking obscure
shit.
Like it's like a nerd for the shit.
Yeah. So we had the similar experience of like connecting and realizing like, wow, we like all of the same shit. So it went really quickly from like, you know, here's a producer sending me production with like some vocal ideas to like, hey, you should get on these songs with me, to like, hey, we've got 5 songs, to like, hey, I think we got an album, to like, hey, I think I really want to work in the sync and licensing space, and I think this music works for it, to Alibi Music calling and saying like, hey, we really love what you did with Dream Big. Can you do it again for us? And it felt really fast, but it felt like we crammed a lot of life and
we crammed a lot in like
a
year,
year, 2 years, because we rolled out the album over the course of a year. But to answer your question, I think we just were in such a creative space that we just kept showing up. And when we looked up, it had been like 4 months, and it was like there's
an album.
There's an album work. There's like work
There's
done.
an album. I think it made the most sense for me to do an album. After that day, we recorded like 5 songs in one day.
5 songs our first
I was like,
session,
let's do an album.
Let's just finish this, yeah.
Let's do an album. And it just came together organically, just doing whatever the fuck we wanted to do, which was fun. Which was really fun to just kind of get off like a lot of ideas that we just had like in our head from like creating like Curious. Like I always wanted to make a ballroom record that Britney Spears would be on. And it's so aligned because I have
a Spice Girl fantasy when I think about it. I'm like, I want to make a song one day that all the Spice Girls come out live at, and it's like at the VMAs or at the Super Bowl, and it's like all of a sudden it's like fucking Bridge, and then all of a sudden like fucking Sporty Spice pops up, and the audience is fucking wiling. Like it's
I
just
love that.
la la la
yes,
but like ominous with no music.
Yes,
and
like
the bitches just rise up
from the stages. Like people are like, ah!
I love that.
I'm here for it.
I love that. Yeah, it was just a lot of just moments that just really just felt aligned and came together just organically. And interestingly enough, like with Dream Big, we wrote most of it separately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was still living in LA back and forth. Yeah.
Which was entirely different from how we did Bouncing and Pretty, because I think we wrote everything together.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much like in the same room and recorded everything in the same space. I think that kind of made things feel even more organic, where we were really able to fully develop our own sound, really.
Yeah.
You know?
I think we did do that with this project. I think the evolution from Dream Big to Bouncy and Pretty was, we were with Dream Big, we kind of hit a stride, and we it's like you strike a match, and we were just doing all of the stuff before the match went out. And then once we realized we could build a fire, it was like Bouncy and Pretty was us building the fire and like standing around it for a few months and just going like, this is how this works. Let's sharpen our tools. Let's really figure out what it feels like when we stack vocals, when we sit with an idea for a few days, when there's no rush. I mean, there was a rush, but I feel like we had a lot of time to nurture this album.
Yeah, like we did have a timeline for this project, but we were able to really just put even more care into the recording. Like we're blending on hooks, a lot more.
Like a boy band.
I mean, and think you
yes.
Get, I mean, you get
I love that.
And you do get a little
harmonies.
You do get a little bit of that on Dream Big with the title track, and then even on Technicolor with me, you and Sad Boy harmonizing together. But I think on this project, there's like a lot more of that, which I like a lot. Yeah.
What's the next question? I love this.
Ask it?
Oh, you can pass it down. Yeah, Amir, you ask the next question.
So I'll ask the next question. Let's see.
What we got?
We got. Let's explain our relationship with Alibi Music. I think we did we kind of hit some of that?
Yeah.
I would like to just. I'm like.
Sure. I'm gonna let you ask, because you ask the questions better than me. Because he put a little sauce on it, and I'm just reading the shit that's highlighted.
A little adobo
put a little adobo on it.
I'm so lucky. I've been doing this for many years now.
Right.
So I guess my question. So I mean, you touched on this. One thing I remember you and I used to talk about back in the days, and you're like, make your music for you, because a lot of times artists make their music for labels, right? A lot of times you're like making music, you're like, oh my god, am I gonna get signed, or what's the label gonna say? And it's like, well, one, you're not signed, so make the music you want to make, and let them find you, and then you make what the label wants you to make. So I guess think about you guys making the music you want to make. You made Dream Big. What then made that connection to Alibi Music, and how has that relationship been as far as like, keeping your artistry still your artistry?
That's a good question. I think with creating Dream Big, like Yanni mentioned, it garnered the attention from Alibi Music for us to create.
Well, even before that,
Yeah.
so, and I don't know if I told you this, but essentially what happened was we created Dream Big, to your point, making what we wanted. Like that, especially for me going into it, even before fully committing to doing a project with him. I was very intentional on whatever I do next after my debut album. I really want to do what I want. What feels good. I really wanted to make music that felt queer, that felt... So we were very intentional about that. So right before we dropped the album, I did the Black Queer Creative Summit with Glad. And,
yes, you did, yep.
And through that, I was on a couple of newsletters that I had submitted our project to. And one of our cohorts, shout out to Michael, he had hit me up on LinkedIn and was just like, hey, I forwarded your project to this guy that I met at I think a convention. He's interested in working with you. And that person was Rab, who we've been working with at Alibi. And Rab pretty much just called and said like, hey, I love Dream Big. I love what you did with it. Can you just do another one of these for us? So to go back to what you were saying, Malik, like we were able to create what we wanted, caught the attention of a team that wanted to work with us, but they still just wanted what we were doing, which is great. Like Alibi, outside of like editing things and technical things that you need for like a sync album, they were pretty much just like, we just want this. We want Dream Big Part 2. Like whatever songs you didn't finish.
I need you to explain what the fuck a sync album is when you're done explaining this album.
But yeah, that's how the Alibi relationship came about. They were just like, we really like what you're doing. Can you do this for us? And a sync album is essentially, or sync music is music that's synchronized to television and film. Okay. So you've done a web series, The Out Crowd. The music that you used for the show is considered sync music.
Okay, it's a lot of copyright infringement.
Well, yes, so that's why sync music is important because all of it is owned outright by these companies, so you don't have to run into those issues.
Exactly.
Learning new shit.
Yeah.
Keep going. Tell me about it.
No, that's pretty much it. Like,
why did you want to work in that world? Like, why did you want to? What brought you into sync music?
Do you want to take that answer or?
I mean, I can touch on it because I think. As a songwriter, I came into the music industry to want to write for artists. And what I noticed really quickly was that I was making most of my music writing music for TV. Most of my money writing music for TV. So I was realizing there's this world here where there is better money. It's not Beyonce, but I'm paying my bills and it's more consistent. And I was seeing the success of artists like Lizzo and LaKaylee 47 who were catching these like big sync moments that were like not only sustaining their careers, but like really redefining them. Like Lizzo's sync in that RuPaul movie is what took Good as Hell to the not Good as Hell, Truth Hurts to the next level.
Wait, the one on Netflix?
Yes.
Which honestly it was fucking shit, but it was so good. I couldn't stop watching it.
It was a terrible movie.
It was like fucking cocaine.
Yeah. And let me take that back. It wasn't a terrible movie, but I mean it didn't do well. Like it wasn't as popular as Lizzo became.
Yeah. You're right. I never thought about that.
So when I saw that, and even like the music that I discovered watching Insecure, watching Broad City.
Insecure, yeah.
I love Broad City.
I have like a number of songs in my playlist that like the album cover is from Insecure. And it's like literally I would be watching Insecure and I would, Shazam it and be like, just to hear what the music is. And so that's kind of what you guys are trying to get going right now, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. I was very inspired by that aspect of watching Insecure that kind of felt like you're getting a show, but you're also getting this fire-ass soundtrack that you've never heard.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I feel like I make music that works in that way. At least I made it out independently working with him. But when I heard his music, I was like, it feels like he makes that music too. So let's just get together and make that fucking music.
Yeah.
And we were very intentional with Dream Big that we wanted to attract sync opportunities. We just didn't know it was going to be a whole separate album.
Yeah, we didn't. Had no idea.
But that was very intentional. And we working with Alibi was the product of a set intention for sure.
Amen and a half.
What's your dream sync placement?
Oh,
like what are we feeling when I see to hear that?
I always like I want to get into video games.
Ooh,
we talked about that.
Are you a gamer?
So specifically, no, I'm not a gamer, but I love like racing car games like Need for Speed and all that type of shit. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 2 is my shit. That's not like a racing game, but like
it's,
things that involve cars,
robbery and crime and murder.
Yeah, and I used to always love the different radio stations on Grand Theft Auto, and then even hearing the music like playing like Need for Speed. Like I always wanted to make like songs for like car racing like games. So I mean, Fast Life from Dream Big,
Fast Life,
so
Zoom in
on
your album,
Hydroplane.
Yeah.
So clearly a vision.
Yeah.
So it's just,
he's been very intentional, especially with car references.
We're going to get a car, like even for a car commercial.
Even a car commercial.
I would eat that. We would eat that.
Just whipping around like fucking the Palisades, right?
I'll take that.
Pacific Highway, Pacific Coast,
PCH,
Pacific Coast Highway, just like a car whipping around Pacific Coast Highway.
Because they be having some really good like acid house in some of these like car commercials. Like I would love to do like an Audi commercial, you know, or like even for like doing like a soundtrack for like fashion shows.
Yes.
But like as far as like TV shows, like maybe like an action film. Yeah.
Fast 11.
Yeah.
Fire. I definitely would love to do a Fast and Furious.
Cars with the fucking...
I would love to do a Fast and Furious. I would have to say my dream sync placements, I love Marvel, and I really love the music supervision of Miss Marvel. So I would love to do like one of these upcoming Marvel TV shows like Ironheart or anything Wakanda related. I would love
to get an Ironheart joint.
Oh my God, I would love that, and I would really love specifically to have music in anything by Jordan Peele, Issa Rae, or Donald Glover. Like that's my trifecta of filmmaker, television people. Quinta Brunson's too, actually. So it's not a what's it when it's for a quadfecta.
Quadfecta.
Period.
I'm not sure if that's correct.
I don't know math.
I'm gonna just go ahead.
But
I don't know English either.
I don't know anything about that.
Every epic Black creator in television and film, I would love to have music in their shows because at some point or another, their shows have inspired me and their work has inspired me. So Issa Rae, who I was introduced to by you forever ago. You introduced me to Issa Rae through her web series, which inspired your web series.
Which inspired me to make a web series.
Look how cyclical this is.
Yeah, the world, man. The fucking world.
And I did music supervision for your series.
You did music supervision.
I was listed as a music supervisor.
We were fucking ahead of our time because we were stealing some good fucking deep cuts. Like we had fucking Janae Aiko before she was even like balling out there. Like
was that the Sailing Souls?
Yeah,
yeah.
Like we were like deep cut type of music. It was
we
a
understood.
fucking good era.
We understood.
I understood the assignment.
I want to keep going in that space. I would love to, especially anything Black that's advancing our narratives.
Agreed.
You know, shout out to Tyler Perry. Shout out to the other Tyler Perry. What's his name? The Deliverance.
Lee Daniels.
But
right. That was a read.
You're not gonna.
That was a read.
I guess I'm not getting those. No, really shout out to Lee Daniels because I got my first sync placement on Empire.
You know what? And shout out to Tyler because he hired my sister.
Period. There you go. But Black creators that are like really advancing Black stories, like I want some Black sci-fi, some Black horror, some Black anime.
Yeah, we were talking about this.
Talking about sci-fi,
Afrofuture because I'm a blurred and there's just not enough. I mean, we can get there's. I'm sure there's a beautiful. I mean, I'm sure y'all got.
What do you call yourself?
I'm sorry.
What did you call yourself?
A blurred, a Black nerd.
Love that.
And
a
I'm
blurred?
Like, yeah, and I'm like,
I've never heard that before.
Wow.
And I'm sure, like you can put some bouncy and some bouncy and pretty inside of a slave pick, but probably not.
I would love that.
Probably not. We need more fucking Afrofuturistic, more like Blacks in space, Black horror, more things like that. You know, it's so interesting because I was like, when you think about that, like the artists the filmmakers you were talking about, like if you really think about their work, they really do center music.
Yeah.
Like the music is deep, maybe not Quinta so much because, it's network, but like Issa, I mean.
But even the way Quinta centers musicians, like a Zach Fox.
Yes, she does put musicians on just as actors. And like, even like if you think about all of Jordan Peele's trailers, they always take some deep cut of a song and turn it into some kind of horror version of it.
Yeah.
Like fucking when he did Candyman, Say My Name.
Yeah.
Say my fucking name into a horror version of that. Genius type of shit. So you love
I got 5 on it.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. That you hear behind all the red clips.
Like y'all want your shit turned into horror versions?
Oh my God.
Anybody else want to ask questions or?
I'll ask one.
Yes.
Let's see.
Yes.
What are we up to? Okay. Huh.
She gonna ask.
Well, you know what? Actually, it's not highlighted, but I would like to get into Bouncy and Pretty a little bit, especially since Amir is a lot of our records really do start with you as the producer and sort of the genesis of a lot of what we do. Like, I think we've had a great synergy of like, you are really great at just creating ideas and starting ideas, and I'm always there to kind of take them to the next level, and then we brand them, we do whatever. But as the foundational creative of the two of us, what were some of the things you were listening to coming into Bouncy and Pretty? And I guess how would you describe sonically what this project is?
I would say sonically this project is pretty much like it is a continuation of Dream Big, because like I would say maybe half of these records are they? They're I don't want to say they're leftovers. I don't like that term, but
they were just ideas we didn't.
They were ideas that we didn't like complete for Dream Big. So half of them, you know, we were writing in that same lens, that same mind frame that we were when we were writing Dream Big, like songs that felt like bad bitch anthems that you could feel good, that you could strut to, things that felt fun that you could kind of like sing along to, vibe to. But there is some messaging, there is some soul, there is some grit, there is some intention to everything that we do. And I think coming into this project initially, I really wanted to not overthink my process in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I did not want to overthink anything. I wanted to work in a space that felt like organic and very instinctual, like really trusting my instincts instead of just second guessing like everything. Like, is this good enough? Like, get it out. And then from there, we can perfect it. And then from there, we can tweak it. And that was my process in starting. So even with production or like writing, like just really just getting in there and allowing myself to have fun and like be messy or and not, you know, worry about the mumble being perfect or like this has to be this. Like I just kind of went to it. So, okay, well,
How'd you do that?
I just said fuck it, really. You know, because like you do have to take a chance on yourself and trust your ideas. And then to even get this opportunity off of creating Dream Big, like clearly we've done something right. We're being commissioned to create this again. So I think that gave me the confidence to say, all right, well, fuck it. Let's just do what we do, you know? So
just show up. Show up. That's when you know you're a star, right? You just walk into fucking set,
very
sunglasses
Tyler,
on,
very Tyler coded.
Yeah.
Very Tyler coded. Very this is heavy.
Where's my dressing room?
This is still heavy.
This is so heavy. Please don't have me holding things.
Love her. I love that she loves being a star.
She loves being a star.
And I like that you brought that up though, because that is a big component of creating a project like this, because you know at the foundation of everything that we do and at the start of everything we do, we are marginalized artists. We are both black men, we're queer men, we're plus size men. We're not the norm that's centered in music. So with everything that we do, and specifically with this type of music, you have to walk in with a level of confidence. And I think that working with Alibi was cool because in the middle of working on this project, they commissioned us for 3 acoustic records as well.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That were released separately from this. And I think it was such a cool balance to do those because in the midst of creating this braggadocious album, we got 3 like really vulnerable songs off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like it sounded to me like bouncy and pretty, and then like some like bouncy and like
it was
emotional.
called Sorrowful Indie.
Sorrowful Indie.
Sorrowful Indie. Shout out to Sorrowful Indie.
What was it? We did Ghost, and
Tide, and Smoke and Mirrors.
Yeah.
So we did these 3 like acoustic pop ballads, and then went back into this like braggadocious album. So I think with Bouncy and Pretty, you get a little bit more heart because those things didn't go away when we switched back on. I think we listen to songs like FYL, when we listen to Bitch I'm Alright, there are still elements of like, I'm a bad bitch, but I'm a sad bitch. But I'm a bad bitch.
I'm a bad bitch with depression.
I'm a bad bitch with depression.
Right.
I think that's like most of us millennials.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We're all bad bitches with depression.
and all Gen Zers.
Yeah.
Everyone's on something.
But you know what? We made so much space for it that when you listen to the album, you don't get just that component. Or if you do, you get it with the laugh. It's like
You get it with the laugh.
it's like, oh, okay, this is like I'm confident, even though I know there's shit that can make me sad. And I think Bouncy and Pretty has a lot of that in there. Okay, I think a good question actually would be, again, as our resident song starter, because Bouncy and Pretty was the title of the production when you sent it to me, and it was an idea already. Where the fuck did Bouncy and Pretty come from? From you. Because I definitely ran with the title for the hook, but you started it.
The beat felt bouncy and pretty. Like I just like it's just that
Done.
simple. Like I heard it, I was like, oh, it feels bouncy and it feels pretty, and I just titled that because
It said what it said.
Because a lot of times, which I think is cool, because like a lot of times when I'm making beats, like, and once I get it to a point where I'm like, okay, I'll come back to this later. I'm satisfied with where it is now. I have to name it, and it's like sometimes I get lazy, and I'll name it Untitled 10, 14, 24, or I'll like. If I feel it, I'm like, let's throw the name, you know?
Yeah.
And Bouncy and Pretty. And what will happen 9 times out of 10, he'll take the name and work it into the song. And I'm like, okay, bitch. Well, here we are. Smart. Bouncy and pretty.
That's years. That's years of skill and talent and development.
You can ask us the next question. Yeah. I think that's years of being a lazy songwriter. And just, no,
but it works.
No, it did work. It did describe the production perfectly.
Actually, I like this question. I like a question like this. What has been your favorite solo release of each other's and why?
Oh, wow.
I would have to say for me, my favorite Amir solo release, I don't know if it's because I was there when you tracked it, but Cool on You has always stood out for me. And I really like the song where Cold Press is saying, "Do you want to get in the car?"
Oh, Ride. Oh, my God. You love Ride?
Get in the car.
My God.
Go a little more than that. What, can y'all sing it for me?
Get in the car.
That's her.
Get in the car. That was an interlude. You know it. And
You
Ride.
really like fucking cars, don't you?
I don't drive. I'm like a Cardi B. Like I would, if I had her money, I would have a garage full of cars, and I would just pay people to drive me.
Yeah, right. It's like I have no. I love cars. I have no intention of driving myself, so I don't know why.
I just like looking at them.
Something sexy about cars.
I just like looking at them.
All I want is a G-Wagon electric, and that's all. That's all I want.
No, Ride was definitely it was an interlude from one of his projects that he didn't use, and then we kind of just like tweaked it, because it fit the project.
That's fire.
It fit, yeah.
Yeah, I think those two are my favorite from you because, and I pointed this out when I was speaking to the publicist for Bouncy and Pretty, but I was highlighting, right? We have a publicist.
Y'all have a publicist.
Shout out to Christian.
Yes, publicist.
She ate. She's eating.
Does she do politics?
We'll find out. We'll
ask.
But I was highlighting to her that the music that we do together is decidedly much brighter and more fun than what we do separately. Because I was a moody R&B bitch before we connected.
You really like your music is moody R&B,
very,
which I love.
Very. Yeah. And your album was very dark.
It was dark. Moody and electronic.
Yeah.
I was like, he's moody R&B girl. I'm moody with glow sticks and smoke.
Yes.
All crying with fucking
with
crying
glitter in my eyes.
With glitter in your fucking
But you know what?
Very euphoria.
Very euphoria.
But that was my first release, and that was just like a time in my life I was going through shit. So I don't think like all of our releases will be like that. But it felt appropriate for the time. It did. Yeah. I would say my two favorite releases from you, and there's three. I'm biased because I did remixes on one of them, so R.I.P. clearly is my shit. But I really love Interim. Is my shit.
That's a deep cut.
That's my shit.
Yes.
And then I'm also between Sirens and what's the one? I streamed the shit out of at the point in time. I think Fall in Love. I had streamed the shit out of that. So those are like my top from your releases, but then also too every day, every night is in there too.
She's
so like
cunt.
That's like my top like 5.
Thank you, friend.
Yeah.
I love those songs too.
Yes.
How do you think? Like, how do y'all? So like, do you think? So that's interesting because, like you said, you make glittery, depressed euphoria music. Like, even though you're not really a drug doer.
No, I just do drugs.
I just am drugs.
I am drug.
Be clear, I only do drugs that are of the earth.
Yeah, only earthly drugs. Good for you. Stay on the potter's wheel.
If it's not of the earth, I don't want it.
And you make very moody. Like it's always been your vibe. Like you love that moody kind of ambient vibe, and yet you guys are making songs that are like poppy and fun and exciting. What do you think? What do you think about that connection? I mean, I know, but what do you think about y'all's connection made like you guys switch style? Like you guys think you came together and all of a sudden it's like, I feel like having fun right now. Like, what is it? Tell me about your relationship
I
as friends.
It's that. I think it is like it's like kids in a sandbox thing. I think when you're alone, you, especially just people who are historically kind of like isolated, it's like you're going to get in your feels and kind of just be in that space. But I think together we encourage each other to paint with all the colors, essentially. Because I mean, even when he first sent me production, he was leaning into what I did. He was like, here's all this dark stuff. And I was like, I want that one with the horns, and I want this, and I
It
want
was
the one with your
interesting the
voice on
songs he
it.
would choose. I'm like, oh.
Isn't that what I thought you were into?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then here's how we
I
ended
was
up
making
here.
that transition. And you know what?
Yeah.
I think songwriting had really empowered me because I was making all of the dark, moody stuff that I thought people wanted, but the songs that were like really moving me along in my career were like things that sounded like Dream Big. Like I was getting opportunities off of songs, and those were ones that I had made just for fun. Like I would come in one day and be like, I'm feeling like this, and I wanted, and then I'd get a call like it's moving to this thing and it's moving to this thing. And I'm like, fuck, I made that having fun. Maybe there is something to having fun, and I think I just needed somebody that kind of matched my level of excitement of like, do you want to do Britney Spears doing voguing music in Miami?
Let's do it.
And it's like, okay.
Like, sign me up for some shit like that.
Britney
Let's
Spears
do
doing
it.
voguing music in Miami sounds like fucking awesome. I want to hear that.
That's curious.
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Yeah, I think
You
it
spent
was
a lot of
that.
time in Miami.
I think
Yeah.
and I think too the music that we do, it's its own entity.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah, we both have made moody music, but like when we come together, it's really its own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like maybe we'll do a moody project together.
We definitely could. I think the way that things have worked out, and I was even thinking about that today because like my next project feels like it's going back in like a moodier bag. But I think the truth is we put so much intention in making really bright and fun and confident music that I think it made space for me to address darker things in a healthier space. Because it's like I'm being so confident everywhere else in my life. Let me go off to a corner and just scribble down some shit that I hate that makes me uncomfortable and close that book. And maybe I'll put it out, maybe I won't. But over here, I'm really beating my chest and saying like, you know what? I can fucking do this shit. Like we have a song on the album called Cherry Float. Is like one of my favorite
your
songs.
favorite.
I love that.
It's my
I love
favorite
that
song.
title.
your
Cherry
favorite.
Flow.
I like that record
It was
too.
the song. It was what he named the beat.
Oh, I did name it that.
Cherry Flow.
Yeah.
Cherry
I can't wait to hear
Flow.
it.
He named the Cherry Flow. I'll
It
play
felt
it for you.
like that though. It felt like that.
It felt like that. And when the song is literally like I'm saying in the first verse, I say, all of my saints have been clapping. They love to see me so happy. And it was like, oh, I'm really owning like walking in a space where I feel really good. And I don't always innately write those kind of songs. So yeah, I don't know. But shout out to us for giving each other space to be positive.
Yeah,
music.
like clearly, I mean, yeah, I believe, I'm a firm believer in the energy flow of shit. So like your energy separately, and then when like your energy like fields interact with each other, like it clearly created a different type of fucking vibe that you wanted to go for.
You know what? Actually, I will say, I think a lot of that positivity comes from us seeing each other. I think I've been in so many spaces where my ideas have been invalidated or people don't see me in the ways that I want to be seen. So to be in a creative collaboration where I'm showing up every day and I'm being seen for like what I want to give, I'm not being turned down. I'm not being told like, you shouldn't sing that. You shouldn't say that. And I think same thing for him where it was just like, it was scratch vocals on demos that I was like, these are going to stay. And him saying like, you sure? You sure? I'm like, yeah, no, these are good. And encouraging each other and not shying away from it. Like,
I think you hear that in the sonics and how it comes together. Absolutely.
Tell me, Amir, tell me something. Like you mentioned, you guys have both talked about this, but the conversation about representation, right? Like you're right. Like you're queer, you're people of color, you're plus size. Like you're even though like obviously there's room to become an icon in every form, but like when you're intersectional, it makes it you have to jump multiple humps. So what do you think? Why do you want your music to be representative? Is it just that you like I have no fucking choice? It's who I am?
It's my mission. I mean, I guess at this point in my life, that's just my mission statement, and I think it just carries over into all mediums that I'm involved in. Like even though I still do work with every man, but I'm not as like maybe active as I was like a few years ago. But like that's just very much like highlighting the underrepresented. I think that's just very much in my manifesto as a person. So
Why?
I guess it's just similar to Yanni, like just coming from a space of not always being seen or like, not being heard, not seeing myself represented in media. Like I would love to have seen like Amir like in the mainstream, like killing it, like making like the type of music that I make. Like I never was able to see that, and I'm able to like not just be that for myself, but also encourage other people to go for their shit as well. I think a lot of people don't go for their ideas, they don't trust their ideas, and it's just like a lot of just trapped potential, So I just want to encourage people to go for their shit.
Why do we do that?
you know what I would say? I would add to that too. I think we both come from careers of being background players.
Absolutely.
And I think you get tired of trying to help everybody else filter their ideas and nobody cares about what you have to say. And like, I've worked with some incredible people and I'm really blessed to have the career that I have. But it was getting to a point where I was looking around after 4 or 5 years of songwriting and I'm going above and beyond to understand everybody else's stories and everybody else's bullshit. And it's the same type of female artist, the same type of rapper. Everybody's looking and sounding the same and wanting to say the same thing. And I'm like, what about, not even what about me, but what about people like me? Like I would have loved, I remember the first time I got to write for a queer artist, shout out to Keenan, and he came in the session and hugged me and was just like, I don't get to do this. And I was like, oh, that's why this is important because he's super talented and he's getting put in all of these rooms, but he doesn't see himself in all of these rooms. And he's being pushed around as the star and still feels isolated in these rooms. How the fuck do I feel behind the scenes? So when we're able to be together, it's like, oh, I get what you're talking about. I'm from where you're from. I've experienced what you've experienced. I can help elevate that, and for each other, we gave each other that same space of like, let me shine a light on you. So I think spotlighting marginalized voices is so crucial because I even remember when you put together your web series and just had a conversation of like, would people see you as a leading man or understand you as a leading man? Because it's like people don't look like us on TV. Issa Rae, is a beautiful woman, but she's a brown skinned woman with short natural hair.
I wouldn't even thought like, oh, okay, my story could be interesting to people.
I remember going through that and it almost feeling revolutionary and it sucks that it does because it's like you're a fucking person. Like you have a real story, but if you don't see yourself, it's not valid.
Yeah.
So
and I remember when I did that, I remember feeling like I remember going into spaces like because after the show came out, like I didn't expect it, right? You were part with me throughout the process. Like I was gonna drop it on YouTube and move on with my life, and hopefully it went well. And then like it was like getting popular, and I was getting invited to things and going to stuff, and it was always interesting because people's perception of they would hear the show, right? They would just hear like they had an assumption about me because they just assumed how plus size Black queer people are supposed to show up, right? It was supposed to be fun and funny and silly and all. Like there was a depth to it, and I would show up to things, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're literally." Somebody said to me, "You're so much more interesting than I thought you were going to be." Yeah. I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm a fucking person.
You're not a side character. You're not there for comic relief."
Yeah. Hello. I'm sorry, I'm a fucking person who has his heart fucking broken and has emotions and shit.
I've been watching How to Die Alone from Natasha Rothwell. She was the character from Insecure. She played I can't remember her character.
Kelly Grove. She played the comic relief fat
character in Insecure. And in her own show, she's a very complex character that's going through a lot of different things. But one thing they didn't give her character, which I love, is like she's not struggling to find men. Like she got men in this show. Like she's fucking, but she's struggling to love herself. But as marginalized people, the story usually is like, I'm unlovable. Yeah. And her character's like, no, there's niggas that want to fuck me. Yes. I don't love myself.
Yes.
And it's like, it's revolutionary, but also why is it like that kind of sucks because she's human.
Whoa. Like, I'll be preaching up shit because I remember like when I was doing stuff like, I remember I said to somebody like, I want to be like it was never heard of. I wanted to be like a Calvin Klein model. And when I said that, like somebody like face was like, you think you can? I'm like, and that was well before now, like work like you've done, Amir, where you're actually like centering plus size men of color in fashionable spaces, in ways that are interesting. And I remember always like being like, people would be shocked. You know I stay with a bad bitch.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I stay with a bad bitch.
Yeah. I mean, people would be shocked by that.
Oh, girl.
I want to actually talk about this a little bit more, just like going back to what you were talking about with like musical artists of color. Why do you think, and y'all could probably cut this if you want to, but why do y'all think there's such backlash with everything Lil Nas X does? As the only he is literally the only Black gay person that you will ever see on a stage at the VMAs or at the BET Awards, maybe.
I think it's interesting that he gets the backlash and Troye Sivan doesn't.
Or NLE Choppa.
Yeah, I mean, he's not.
Well, he's not.
No, but he baits the fuck out of Black.
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
I think that, and I was having a conversation with somebody about this yesterday. I think Black queer people, Black queer men. I can't speak for Black queer women, but I think Black queer men have such a love affair with what's taboo and with masculinity that when a Black queer man is unapologetically queer, and openly playing around with their fluidity, it's an issue. But when a straight man is baiting queer people, when an NLE Choppa is in a fucking jockstrap and in a thing, it's hot because he's straight, so he's forbidden. Yeah. And there's also probably colorism that comes into that. He's light skinned.
But but he's uglier than Lil Nas X. Like, I don't care if Lil Nas X, like, I don't care
but
what
he's off limits.
I don't care what colorism is.
He's off limits.
I can visually look at somebody who's prettier than the other person.
Fully. I think he's off limits, and I think, I don't know. I think it is sad to see Lil Nas X get so much backlash. I think Lil Nas X is a great example of why representation matters, because since he's the only one, there's so much on him to be so many things. And he literally is a kid that became the biggest star in the world overnight. And he's doing what a kid that became the biggest star in the world overnight would do. He's learning himself. He's not Bach. He's not Elton John. He's not fucking like... He's literally making fun, crazy music between the ages of 18 and 22. So he's literally becoming an adult. There's so much pressure put on him to appeal to children, even though he only appealed to children for one song.
One song.
But it was his song. It was the song.
There's so much pressure on him.
He infiltrated the mainstream through children's music.
And that's not his fault. And it wasn't
even though it wasn't a children's song if you really listen to it. But children loved it.
Yeah, and that's not his fault. But I think there's a lot of pressure put on him. And it's like there are artists who will gladly take on the pressure of taking music to new heights as a queer artist, of wanting to be avant-garde and do whatever. And there's people that just want to do saucy Santana shit. And then there's people like us that are somewhere in between. Sometimes you want people to throw ass, sometimes you want people to feel something. Sometimes you want you to throw ass and feel something. Yeah. Like, it can be Twigs sometimes, and it can be Tinashe sometimes. Yeah. And it's like, but you
what happened to Saucy? Like, why did he fall off?
I don't think he's fallen off. I think Saucy's got his foot in a lot of different places. So I think his reality bag is what works, and the music is probably secondary.
Okay.
But again, because he's one of the only people doing it, he's gonna get pushed.
Yeah.
And the idea is like, you're either Saucy or you're Frank or you're Lil Nas X.
Or you're Lil Nas X. Yes, those are the three options. Either like you're gay, like, you know, you're the gay white boy only kind of like, you know, emo kind of black queer. You know, Tyler the Creator. You're broken.
Really,
like, I
ambiguous.
I hate fucking people, but I sing every now and then. Or you're like cunty. You're cunty and fucking, you know, talking about, you know, just all over the place, and you're skinny and you're pretty and what you call it, like Lil Nas X, who's like mainstream. And then you got Saucy, who's kind of makes music for, like, you know, the girls in Miami.
Right.
And I don't identify with any of them, which is why it's important for there to be more.
But I'd work with all of them. I'd work with all of them, and I think they have a place. But I don't identify with any of them.
I don't identify with any of them.
So you guys are trying to fill that middle ground.
Not even.
I think we're just
ourselves.
intentionally being ourselves.
And make space for more people like us. Because Dream Big definitely was a village. And even though Bouncy and Pretty was isolated to just us, the reach that I wanted to have and the pipeline that I hope it creates for other people to do what we're doing and what the fuck they want to do is really that's the win for me.
Tell me more about how do you want listeners to take Bouncy and Pretty? How do you want them to hear it when they hear it?
It's a fun album. First and foremost, it's a fun project. I want people to hear it and feel empowered. I want them to hear it and throw ass. I want them to hear it and put it in movies. And I want it to continue a conversation of black male vulnerability, black male confidence, queer friendships. And I just want people to see two queer men creating together and creating something positive, and just inspire them to do more of what we're doing, because we're so much more powerful together and do so much cooler shit together.
Amen.
How about you? How do you?
I agree with everything he just said, honestly. But I don't want to be so general and say ditto ho, but it really hit a lot of the marks of what I would say. But what I'll add to that is the same feeling that everyone got from listening to Dream Big. You know, like, we have a song on the project called Limitless, you know, and I think Limitless was originally a Dream Big remix. Like, I had made the beat and put the OG Dream Big vocals on top of it, but we reworked it into an entirely new song, but same message, like, go for your shit, go for your dreams. And, like, you know, like, I'm in my mid-30s, like, we're making fucking pop music and doing whatever the fuck we want to do. Like, you would have people would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I'm doing what I want.
Tina Turner became a pop artist in her 50s.
There you go.
An alt-rock goddess.
In her 50s.
Listen, I just heard Charlie XCX do an interview where she was saying, and Charlie XCX is probably one of the most seminal peak pop artists of the last 15 years, and saying that she didn't feel like she belonged and she wasn't a pop artist, or she didn't fit the mold. And it's like, damn, if Charlie feels that, then most people, more people than not, probably feel that shit. So it's like, just fucking do it. Do whatever the hell you want. Be the star, be the this, be the that. Like, it doesn't mean that every person who's been marginalized wants to be a star all of a sudden because we're doing it. It doesn't even mean that we want to be stars. I think in this, and we do, but I think in this, I was like, but I think more, even bigger than centering myself. The goal was just to prove that I can do it, and that if it's something that I want and I want to own, I can have it, and I want more people to feel that.
Amen.
And we live a million lives, so it's like if I'm a pop star for 5 minutes, I'll take it, and I'll go be a doctor.
Also, you have, I mean, assuming you live to the average age of the person, and then there are studies. There's a recent researcher came out with the idea that his studies showed that if you were under 40 right now, there is a likelihood with the advancement of technology that you'll live to 150.
Oh God!
Right? And so in my head, I'm like, it's
scary.
If that's the case, let's say you live to 125. You have more life to live than the life you've lived so far is just a fucking fraction
that's true.
of your life. And so the idea of doing the same old shit over and over again, or giving up, being like, I lost a race. Like when I hit 30, it finally dawned on me. I was like, because when you're younger, you always think 30 is like the end. You're like, oh, when I hit 30, I'm done. Like if I'm not a millionaire,
when I have kids by 30, I'm gonna do this by 30.
If I'm not an icon by 30, then fucking done.
27.
Then I'm done. If I'm not dead by 27, then I guess I didn't do it right. I didn't do my life right, which is partially true. But I was like, I remember hitting 30 and being like, oh shit, I've only done 10 of those years was as a child, when I had no control. The other 10 was as a fucking teenager, again, no control. Then the only 10 I had was like my fucking 20s as a fucking like living, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing with my body. Like I was wilding out. You can attest. It's like,
oh wow.
And then you get to 30, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta do this. If you live to 90 years old, I gotta do this shit. I gotta do this shit 2 more times.
Yeah.
The last 10 was rough, and so the idea that you should stop making music or stop making your art because all of a sudden you're fucking, I'm 30 something, is like, that's insane. That's why I'm loving all the artists now who are in their 30s. Finally blowing up and hitting.
I want more of that, actually. That's another thing. Outside of just, being, the demographics that we normally preach to, I think another demographic I really want to encourage is people over 30, people in their 40s, people in their 50s. Like, there's still so much stories to be told. Some of the best directors and photographers and shit hit in their 50s. And like, we don't see it as much in pop music because it's not as cool. But like you said, Tina Turner's a great example. Sia is a great example. You have women like Fergie and Gwen Stefani who were 3 decades into their lives before they got their first solo projects.
Yeah.
You
got Money Long blowing up now at 36.
Money Long, fucking, I mean, even the top of Beyonce, who's still in her 40s, full of fresh ideas and perspective and energy. So, I think Bouncy and Pretty speaks to all that. I think Dream Big speaks to all that. And I think that is the mission statement, ultimately, of like making this shit accessible to everyone who wants it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So actually, I'm gonna leave y'all the last questions because I took over.
We love it. We love it.
I was curious. I was y'all's audience surrogate.
It's a deep one too.
What you feeling?
It's this last one, right?
You can read it if you want. If it speaks to you.
So, what is the ultimate vision for your artistic legacy, and how do you see it being defined?
So, what the ultimate vision for your legacy? How you see it being defined?
My God!
I think that was it, honestly, for me. Like, I think when I leave this
when you're 150,
when I leave this plane, I want my legacy to be all of the artists and projects that got created by people who recognize their power despite not being the target, the norm, whatever the fuck, For every incredibly talented 15-year-old blonde white girl that becomes a megastar, we love you and God bless you. I want a 50-year-old black woman. I want a fucking 30-something-year-old queer man. I want a trans star. Like, I want to see all of these people, all of these different stories taking off to the next level because, the world is only getting more diverse and more dynamic. And I want that to be my legacy. So I wanted to create a pipeline for other people to come through.
I love that. I would say for me, I would love for my legacy. I feel like my legacy I just want people to be able to look at the work I've done and be able to say, damn, that bitch did it, I can do it too. Like, it's as simple as that. You know, like, damn, that bitch did it, and he did it his way, the way he wanted to do it, and I can do it too. And if I could be that for somebody, then, you know, my job is done.
We just hit the 1 hour mark. Malik.
Yes.
Where can people find you?
I'm going to be going through a lot of different handles, but right now you can find me. You can just search Malik and I'll probably come up first. You can search Malik. But I have a podcast coming out called Malik Show, like Peep Show. It's a peep show into politics at the end of the world. Yes. And so, you know, talking about trying to make it all make sense as all this shit goes on in our lives. It doesn't make a lot of sense. All the rules being broken by all the leaders in the world and the corporations and the artists and the creators, everything just doesn't seem like it makes sense. And so that's going to be my job, is to kind of intuit my way through it for the audience. So you can follow me. Malik Show will be on YouTube. You can follow me at Malik S. Wright on all the other platforms.
Yes, that's his commercial, y'all. I'm going to cut up that clip for him. Amir, Amir, briefly plug what's next for you and then where the people can find you.
What is next for me? I'm working on a few things. We're working on a few things. Multi-hyphenate bad bitch. I am working on some new music. I don't know when I'm putting it out, but I'm working on some new music. We're working on stuff.
Things, yeah. Yes.
So
Bouncy and pretty.
There's things in the works. And you can find me on Instagram at amir.stay.fly. You can find me on X. I don't know why we call it X.
Look,
Twitter.
The nigga one. I'm sorry.
Find me on Twitter at amirstayfly.
You got it.
And you can find me at amirstayfly.com.
He bought that, and it's his now, I guess.
Done. And I'm Yanni Blue, and I love these gentlemen, first of all. They're incredible. Some of my favorite people. And I'm really excited about what's coming up for us. So, just so we have it for the pod, and I can cut this up for some clips. Bouncy and Pretty, the single, drops October 28th. Our second single, FYL, drops November 12th. And the full album, Bouncy and Pretty, drops November 21st. So we'll have those links available for you to pre-save. I'm at Yanni Blue on all platforms. And I'll be dropping a mixtape at the top of next year and a new podcast. And subscribe to my newsletter. And shout out to P&T Knitwear for having us.
Shout out to P&T Knitwear.
Y'all be working. Damn.
Period.
Y'all stay
Period.
busy.
Yeah, and if you do nothing else, remember nothing else, shake ass, feel your feels, and stream Bouncy and Pretty, the album Bounce the Titties on November 21st. And yeah, thank you guys.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Stop recording. Are you sure you want to stop recording? Yes. And then I'll stop you here.
Just hit me. We keep it bouncy and pretty. Yeah, we make a fly girl shimmy and a bad